It's an absolutely beautiful Monday afternoon, 2:15 in the afternoon to be exact, April 4th, 2022, out here in at a little campground called Twin Oaks Campground, right next to Waycross, Georgia. Just finished a weekend working at the Swamp Festival out there, and so now we are leaving and heading to the beautiful hidden gem of Andersonville, Georgia for about a day and a half before heading back up to Tennessee. All right, so keeping me company on this road trip is going to be the audiobook Wicked. When Dorothy triumphs over the Wicked Witch of the West in L. Frank Baum's classic tale, we hear only her side of the story. But what about her arch nemesis, the mysterious witch? Where did she come from? How did she become so wicked? And what is the true nature of evil? Let's turn off the AC so you're not getting anything blowing in the speaker there. Gregory Maguire creates a fantasy world so rich and vivid that we will never look at Oz the same way again. Wicked is about a land where animals talk and strive to be treated as first-class citizens. Munchkinlanders seek the comfort of middle-class stability, and the Tin Man becomes the victim of domestic violence. And then there is the little green-skinned girl named Elphaba, who will grow up to become the infamous Wicked Witch of the West, a smart, perky, and misunderstood creature who challenges all our preconceived notions about the nature of good and evil. Sounds intriguing, but at the same time, this book is 16 CDs long, spanning 20 hours of audio. So I'm definitely not going to get through the entire thing on this trip, and once starting it, I might not even think it's worth the entire 20 hours, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to go ahead and start it now, and once we get to Andersonville, I'll give you a little report on how it's going so far, and find out if it's, there we go, CD1. If it's worth a listen. I wonder if it ties into that musical, that's the musical Wicked. It kind of sounds like it's in that same world. I guess we're going to find out. All right, let's get on the road. Yes, Mr. President, yes you did. But at least you're man enough to admit it, right? Ah, come on, man. So that's the camp host right there. And there's a turkey. That turkey's kind of fearless, isn't he? Right there. He'll come right up to you. He's letting that camp host get right up there. Wow. Couple of ducks, some chickens, big old turkey. Oh, and then there's a whole herd of cats right there. Well, she looks like a St. Francis of Assisi there with all the critters around her. Exactly 8 o'clock now, and against the setting sun, we've arrived in Andersonville at the RV park and settled in. And let me just say, now that it is finally getting dark at what feels like a reasonable hour, not 6 o'clock, not 5:30, it's such a relief. I can come into campgrounds and still have enough light to see to hook up. It feels like it's just a little more human. And I hope they never do the stupid time change again. What this is that turkey, maybe? Probably turkey. What do you think? Looks like the general store opens at 6:30 in the morning for breakfast. They took a lot of time putting tons of Christmas lights up here. They have moved into the digital age, it looks like. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Let's see what they got for breakfast. Today's breakfast special was a smoked sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. Oh yeah. It is always so peaceful out here, man. Well, I've never seen Andersonville Antiques open. They're usually only open like Saturday and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, I think. It must be some kind of special occasion. Let's go on in and see what they got. Ginsu, a whole set for $5. The Ginsu flame. Remember those infomercials late at night? Even for $5, I can't say I need them. National parks. I wonder if they look the same nowadays. Now that one amazes me. Mesa Verde in southwest Colorado. Native Americans built this under the cliff face hundreds of years ago, and it's still there. It's a better picture right here. Look at that. I wonder if you can actually walk down in there. They probably have it cordoned off where you can't actually climb the ladders or walk through it. But man, I would like to see that.
Okay, what do you call your group? Jointhefun.com. If you go online, it's called jointhefun.com.
$5 arrowheads, actual arrowheads somebody found.
No, we don't want to go overseas anymore.
And you know, there's so much that you can see.
That's the whole thing.
Well, now that it started raining, I'm going to have to wait for it to stop before I can ride my bike back up to the campgrounds. So it looks like I'm going to have to sit here and relax for a while. Oh, darn. This is going to keep me from going to Providence Canyon and painting that picture. Wednesday morning now, about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm supposed to be checked out of my campsite within the next couple of hours. But I didn't get to go to Providence Canyon at all yesterday because the weather was so bad. Lots of reds and yellows on the radar. We even had a tornado warning for a little while there, and you can see how washed through this place looks. And I can't go today because it's looking like the rain's going to get bad again around lunchtime today. So I'm just going to have to call it and say that I'll be passing through this area again sometime, hopefully soon, to be able to get back out there again. But before I go, off behind the little Drummer Boy Museum, a camp office, and little restaurant up there on the road, behind that is this whole area right here that I've never shown before. It's got a lot of log cabins that have been moved and placed here. And this whole area in the past has been used as the grounds of big festivals. They used to have one like right at, I think, the beginning of October. And they still have a gathering, but nothing quite to the scale as what they used to have. But yeah, they've got a sugarcane press, a blacksmith booth, but they haven't had a blacksmith at it for a while. There's even this sound stage right here. Stepping up on the sound stage here. Imagine all the bluegrass music that's been played from right here, for all these people sitting out in the plastic chairs, and even overflow benches out there, cross-tie overflow benches. And this over here, that's got to be where all the sound equipment and mixing board and everything, they're looking back at the sound stage and adjusting the levels. Yeah, some fun nights had out here, I'm sure. A long building, just like at flea markets, where you have vendors that rent like little 10-foot or 20-foot spaces in your long building to sell their little handmade wares, leather belts and blown glass pieces and stuff. Gents Outhouse. Gents. Huh. So this festival had actual flushable toilets. Of course, that's only an assumption. There could just be a giant hole in the ground underneath that building, but It looks like they probably installed some actual septic in there. Okay, now we're coming up to the blacksmith's booth. Yeah, just imagine all the kids sitting here on these benches and watching the glowing hot metal coming out of the forge, and then the blacksmith bouncing his hammer off of the horseshoe or, you know, fireplace equipment or whatever he's making. Just bong, bong, ding, ding, right there. There's even a mechanical hole punch here. So you can put holes in plates of metal with no hydraulic at all. Big old chunky piece of equipment. There's your vise. Right there. And there needs to be a good skilled blacksmith come out here again and knock all the rust and gathered leaves and twigs off of this and put it through its paces again. What is this? It's cast iron, pure cast iron. What is that? Put it down in the comments if anybody knows what this is. I want to say it's a basin, but I don't know what this big thing is in the middle. It looks like it's actually... Oh. Okay. I have to put that back. Oh, there's a drain there. Now, this is a concept I've never seen before. You've got a loose fit log cabin with very basic chinking, which most of it has fallen out. But on the inside, there's milled pieces of flat wood that are just up against the walls as paneling. So, yeah. It's like we're not going to worry too much about the chinking because inside has got this milled flat paneling pieces. Kind of smart, really. And, oh, I think that's the barbecue pit. Let's go take a look at that. Well, not so much barbecue pit as just like a sandwich counter. With the bread racks even still there. Look at that. Imagine all the pulled barbecue, sloppy joes, and sandwiches that were served out of this corner here. There's your dishwashing and hand washing sink over there. And it's looking directly at more Adirondack style vendor spots over here. Man, I would have loved to have worked at this festival during its heyday. Looks like this deck here is home to a few neighborhood feral cats. Making sure that the mice don't infestate things too bad out here. Y'all go ahead and do your job. They're staring at me. They're staring at me. Look, is it my imagination? I think this whole log cabin here is actually tilted, like it's starting to tilt a little there. And this would be the sugarcane press, which I've actually seen one in use before. So what they do is they attach a donkey or a mule or some kind of smaller beast of burden to this, and then the animal goes around in a circle, and there's teeth on the inside, so you just feed the sugarcane stalk in here to that side, and it's crushing it through the big rollers, and then the juice drains out right there, and then you put a bucket down at the bottom just to collect the juice. Right? So big old sugarcane press. So then you take all of that juice over to this building here to boil it down and make it into molasses. This is where you get your molasses. So you build a fire. Oh, they've still got wood here ready to go. Oh, there, yeah, feed it in there. Deer, yeah, build a fire underneath there. And you get your giant basin full of sugarcane juice to a slow simmer. And you just tend it for hours and hours until it gets down to the level that you're happy with. And then you pull the fire out, let it cool, and scoop it one bottle or jar at a time into a bunch of jars and store it away for the winter, or to whenever the sugar cane is ready to be pressed again. So here's a close-up of the cane press. Right there you can see how close together the rollers are. So you're feeding that stalk of sugar cane into that little gap right there while the rollers are moving and just leaning your body weight into it. And then when it grabs, you can see the sugar cane start to move. Right. So it's going through, and then sugarcane juice is pouring out of this right here into your bucket, and then the used up husk of sugarcane is coming out this side, which I'm sure they probably end up using that for some kind of cattle feed or something later on. Just sit there for hours, feed them in, pushing your body weight and ducking as the mule comes around so you don't get your head hit by this beam right here as it comes around. Or maybe they just put small children in charge so they didn't have to worry about getting their head hit. Wouldn't have been uncommon. Kids had to work too. It still works. I gotta put you guys over there where you can actually see the rollers moving. Hold on, I'm gonna put you right here. You can really get a good close-up look at it. Watch this. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Look at it as I'm going around. Hundreds of years later, and it works. How many of our gadgets can we say that for? Where have we fallen from? Even the device that I am recording this on right now is, by design, made to only last 2 to 3 years. But these guys are settlers, are pioneers, are founders. We're using and making devices that still work 200-300 years later, and will probably work 100 years from now. I so admire that. Right here, you see all these posts? Boop, boop, boop. Right there. Those are outlets. So the vendors that did buy spots on this row, the vendors had individual outlets. They didn't have to plug up to a outlet tree or run extension cords 200 feet. Man, this festival needs to come back. It needs to come back. It's a little bit after 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I've got the camper hitched up, about to leave this beautiful campground out here in Andersonville and finish the drive back up to East Tennessee. Let's turn that off. The Dashel's already settled in, but being a little complainerson. So it's about time to go ahead and end this one out. Before I go though, let's go ahead and check in on how I'm doing with Wicked. Well, first thing that comes to mind is that this turned out to be a lot more adult and lecherous than I had thought it was going to be. Also, the length of it is more to its detriment than anything else. Sometimes it feels like the author is getting paid by the word and just spreading things out for the sake of being able to say, I wrote a big book. I feel like you could have hit the same beats and gotten the same character development in at least half the pages. But it is keeping me interested. Also, Elphaba's mother in the first chapters, she was like one of the most unlikable characters I have ever read about in a fictional story. Oh my goodness, I hated her. She was so selfish and self-serving, and she's awful. But we are now to the point where Elphaba and Glinda are in school together, they're roommates, and which is making me think that almost for 100% certain this story is what the musical was based on. And that musical is only like 2 hours long, so yeah, this can be condensed. So we're going to see what happens to the girls now that they are up older and they're getting to know each other. I'm just going to continue, and I guess I'll give you another report once I get closer to the middle of the story. And that's going to be it for this one. Guys, if you have enjoyed this, please make sure to indicate so by giving me the good old thumbs up, like button, subscribe, turn on the noties when you do. I will talk to you down in the comments. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.